Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Straight to the Apex podcast, our Formula One podcast. The guys are here, they're talking Formula One. What more could you want? That is exactly the reason we're all here. And yeah. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Even if it's just to say how much you love the podcast. Yeah. Right, enough from me. Let's hear from these guys. Here we go. This is CookieCast. Straight to the Apex.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Straight to the Apex podcast, Series 3, Episode 15 on your CookieCast network. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Tony Rawson.
Hello.
And Mr. James Stainforth, who's just Jimmy this week.
Hello. You alright?
Oh, yeah, are you all both all right?
I hurt
Not
everywhere.
bad.
You
bad.
hurt everywhere. I mean, any reason? Rough night?
I'm not hurting for fun stuff. I went to boot camp dinner before this, and honestly, guys, I did it last week and then decided to do it again this week, and I nearly cried last week. But it's like 45 minutes of like slamming balls for a minute, running up to a post, doing burpees, running back, doing a plank, running up, doing more burpees, running back, and then doing the next exercise.
I mean, you should just play racquetball like me, but don't get me wrong. I hit my hand on the wall. However, I didn't have to do burpees.
No. But what's weird is at the end of it, you thank the guy for it.
I mean, that's just sadism. What an idiot. So while you do boot camp, I'm just going to sit here and eat M&Ms.
Oh, I've had like a load of chicken and eggs, and I just downed a double protein shake just before this.
Nice.
I may be opening windows.
This is the health podcast.
Man.
Tony will have been doing some type of gym thing.
No, rest day today. Rest day. So,
well,
yeah.
So right, we missed last week. James had a date with Mr. Ryan Reynolds, so unfortunately he couldn't join us. So we thought we'll wait a week. It's a summer break. I mean, it was an okay Belgium race. Let's be honest. If you don't know the result by now, where the hell have you been? But we'll talk a bit about that, and then I think majorly there's some. I'm glad we've waited a week because there's been some massive breaking news in the last week. All I'll say is Zach Brown at McLaren called this. He said this would happen. He said the team would break up. And Mr. Horner said, no, I don't know whose CVs you've got. But anyway. So, thanks always to Andy. Obviously, everyone listening might not have heard his voice yet, but Andy's not joined us this week. But we thank him for joining last week. I think he had a fun time, barring the grilling he got from Mr. Tony Rawson about how he stands up to wipe or sits down or whatever the case may be.
Burning questions everybody didn't know they wanted to know the answer to.
But we're all done.
Yes.
So we're not the only ones that do it.
Exactly. So, Belgium Grand Prix. It was wet again. However, it wasn't wet enough to cancel. So, qualifying itself was pretty much intermediate. So I think all sessions, or did they get on slicks in Q3?
No,
I don't think they did they?
No. So I think it was spitting. The track was wet. I think Stroll had a heavy crash in FP3, so he had his pit crew up against it to actually build the car for him to try and qualify. But any major points from quali? Because I'll be pretty honest, I haven't got any points from qualifying.
Not really. I mean, it was wet, wasn't it? So everyone was just being tender. Maybe a little bit too tender at times. You know, if we're looking at McLaren, you know, they're clearly using a different weather system to everybody else there.
And Perez made it through by the skin of his teeth.
Well done, Sergio. I mean, he qualified third. For Perez, he was still 0.6 behind Max, who got pole. But in a intermediate weather quali, I think he'd have took that beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Max will have had. I mean, we already know Max had a brand new engine in there, and everything will have been set to the highest because of his 10 grid penalty.
Yeah, he was getting pole. Let's be honest. Nobody was going to beat him. I mean, Leclerc was second, and he was 0.6 behind. I mean, he was 153.754. Perez was 153.765. Max was 153.159. So, like I say, everything was turned up. He was getting pole, knowing he had a 10-place grid penalty on Sunday. Weather reports, I think, said dry, didn't they? Which obviously we know turned out right. Sonoda had a 20-place grid penalty for all his components. Zhou was penalised 3 places for impeding during quali. I mean, I think, was it Sainz that nearly lost it? Someone nearly lost it in the intermediate conditions.
Sainz.
Like I said, any other points? No. So Max qualified first, went down to 11th. Then it was Leclerc, Perez, Hamilton, Norris, Piastri, Russell, Sainz, Alonso, Ocon. Usual boring suspects went out in Q1 and Q2. I ain't even going to bore you with them because there was no major surprises. So the race. So obviously, I think there were Sainz and Zhou started on the hard, Ricciardo on the soft, everyone else on mediums. McLaren had said they'd set up for a wet race, hadn't they? And like you said, James, had a different weather system to everybody because everyone else had said, no, it's going to be dry. Yeah, so first corner, anything, it was all a bit clean. Nothing really major.
Perez basically had to kill Hamilton.
Yeah. I vaguely remember that. I can't actually remember it now.
But nothing else really happened. Norris went wide and then lost all his speed.
Norris dipped a tyre on the gravel at the start and lost quite a few places, yeah.
He's really got to sort his starts out.
Leclerc obviously got off in second by lap 2. Hamilton had overtook him and got in the lead. Max had made about 3 or 4 places up from the start. Perez, considering he qualified well, just went backwards. Literally just went backwards. And obviously going into the summer, there was talk that it just wasn't good enough from him. I mean, he started third, he finished 7th. Not great, really.
Yeah, and I mean, we can say it now because it's not going to spoil the end of the. I mean, like we already said, it's 2 weeks later, guys. If you haven't watched the race, the fuck are you doing listening to this at the moment? I mean, don't get me wrong. We're grateful you listen to this, and we welcome you every week, and we love you. We're all like kind of little heart.
Please don't go anywhere.
But come on. But yeah, you don't start a race in third, finish it in 7th. Was he 1 in front of Max? If I remember rightly.
Max finished 5th.
Oh, yeah. But either way, Max started 11th.
Yeah. Yep. And I know the Red Bull isn't the quickest car anymore. That's pretty evident because last year, Max was able just to absolutely annihilate the field, wasn't he? He took an engine penalty in Spa. I think Red Bull thought we'll do it again because it worked out last year.
Oh,
And
I got fed up of seeing all the social media posts the day before the race, and it went, "Oh, Max has had an engine penalty at Spa for the last 3 years, and he's always come out top. You know, this is what he does." And it's like, yeah, but the last 3 years he's had a ridiculously fast car.
yeah, I mean,
Now it's just a all right
Mm.
car.
I mean, it's still up there, but I would say it's the second or the third quickest. I mean, Meg had a new floor for practice. They took it off for quali because they said they didn't have a dry run and they wanted known data. So they took an upgraded floor off that car and they were still faster than the Red Bull. So we absolutely wrote Mercedes off this year because of the shit show of last year. They've overtook. I think they're there or thereabouts with Red Bull. I don't think they've overtaken them. I think they're kind of level.
Yeah.
McLaren are definitely ahead of Red Bull. Definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Ferrari, are they just off the pace?
Yes.
I don't. It's like they've gone onto a simmer. There was
Yes.
looking good at the start, and we was all excited because Hamilton was going there. And then it was after Monaco, wasn't it? Ever since Monaco, they've just been kind of. Well, it's never gone right since.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No. So, I mean, yeah, it was. Piastri pitted on lap 31 from the lead, overshot the pit box. Fair play to his Jackman because he literally caught Piastri. He stopped him going even further through his pit box. We had a few pits. Obviously, Hamilton was leading, then come in. Piastri was leading, then come in and said, like, clean air is king. There was like to and fro with pit stops. And then Woody himself come on the radio and said, "Do you think the one stop will work, guys?" So they allowed him to do it. I mean, obviously later in the race, we'll get to that, but Hamilton was a bit fuming. Not talking about what happened after the race, but was Hamilton right to be fuming? Because at that moment in time, Russell had got the best strategy.
No, I think that Russell called it. Russell called it, and it all came right at the end. I think his celebrations fucking spoke for itself, really. At the end of the race, I've never seen anybody celebrate like that for a long time. It's like he'd won a championship.
You're going to say Piastri certainly didn't.
What a shame it all come crashing down.
I should have found out sooner just so I could see his face.
I wish he'd have been stood on top of his car and found out. That'd have been absolutely fucking hilarious. Any other major talking points from the race before we get into kind of the end when Hamilton pitted and was chasing Russell and Piastri was chasing Russell? Anything else from the race that you can think of?
Can we talk about the one-stop strategy?
Yeah.
So obviously, he got disqualified.
Shock.
And Mercedes was like, "Oh, well, maybe we shouldn't have done the one-stop. Maybe because of the one-stop, there was too much tyre deg, and obviously there's no cool-down lap at the end of the race, so that they don't get to drive around the track one more time and pick up as many marbles as can just to gain a bit more weight. Let's face it, it was only 1.5 kilos. Could have easily got that in marbles, but I never noticed it at the time, and I found out like 2 days later, Alonso only did one stop.
Did he?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. He didn't get disqualified.
Alonso only did one stop, and his weight was fine.
So Mark had a bit of an excuse with this. Obviously, normally you do a full cool-down lap, don't you? And you pick up the marbles. At Spa, you don't. You go around the first corner, and then you do a U-turn back into the pit. And then they said Russell lost too much weight because he was obviously working harder. The tyres were degraded more. Now you've said that about Alonso. is that all absolute bull?
The only other thing that I can think that they actually said was the floor.
Or the wear of the plank? And
Because because is it Le Rouge? Every driver was told to lift and coast on that corner, because they was worried about the plank. But it doesn't look like Russell was.
Right.
He just ground his plank down.
So is that driver error in the sense that maybe they told him to do that?
Mm-mm.
It was a gutsy call. It was a very gutsy call. Russell kind of come out of nowhere. I don't think anybody with the temperatures of Spa, everyone was 2 or 3 stopping. He was like, I think I can make this work. Fair play to him for that.
Oh yeah. But even talking about Mercedes themselves, I mean, and Red Bull for that matter, both Hamilton and Verstappen was both saying on the radio, I want to leave as little tread in the pits as I can. So they wanted to wear the tyres out completely.
Yep.
Both of them went in, and both of them was told afterwards you had about another 5 laps on your tyres.
Mm.
So either Pirelli's not giving them reliable information about tyre deg, or I don't know, maybe a lot of them was expecting a safety car like they normally would at Spa and just doing that gamble.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, Perez, while we're talking about pits, Red Bull with Perez, he was, I think, was he on the hards for about 8 or 9 laps, and then they pitted him again.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like, don't get me wrong, like we're slagging Perez off because he's gone from 3rd to 7th, but Red Bull did not help him at all. It was almost like, again, you're our guinea pig for Max. They might as well have bolted on every compound going, wets, intermediates, softs, because he was the guinea pig for Max.
I mean, let's face it. I think we know for a fact that one of his pits was solely so that Max could get by.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Because they'll never be like, oh no, our drivers are meant to race. We'll never just give team orders and stuff like that. And yet, whenever Max is just behind Perez always seems to come in for a pit. It's really weird that I don't know if anyone else has noticed that. So.
But I mean, normally they just go on the radio and say, "Move over." But
yeah, Max is faster, Mitch. Let him by.
Yeah, but now, like you say, they just pit him just so that they don't get any maybe they've had enough controversy this season. Maybe.
Indeed.
Anything else you've got, Tony? Have you got any notes from the race?
I ain't got anything else. It was a bit of just a pit and undercut fest, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
There's no real crashes, no real drama.
It was an okay race, but nothing
special, was it?
No, as Spa goes, it's normally pretty damn good. But, yeah.
I always enjoy Spa. The last couple of laps, I was getting a bit tense because I was sitting there thinking, you should just let Lewis go by, because Lewis was catching up really fast on Russell, but Piastri was catching up, and I was just thinking, look, swap them round. Lewis has got younger tyres, and he can just stay in that DRS and just give Russell a tow for the last 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing it, and Piastri was getting closer and closer. I was like, oh, God, they're going to blow this.
They nearly ballsed it up. I think if Russell had have gone from 7th to 2nd, you'd have took that before the race. So his one stopped, let Lewis by, and then there was like, oh, you're free to race. And then, like everything, the car get to about a second and a bit away, and it seems to be worse at Spa, even with the new rules. You just can't overtake because you start losing your front end, you start losing that downforce. They nearly cost themselves because, like you say, if they just said to Hamilton, get by, but keep George within a second, you'll then drag him along, and we've got a 1-2. Great. Because 2 more laps, Piastri would have done him because he was so quick. But then would he have got up to Lewis and then stalled out? I don't know. I don't know.
Don't know.
I was almost willing Piastri to win because I just didn't want that boring twat face to win. But however, spoiler alert, he did win, and then he was disqualified.
Yeah.
What a shame. As soon as it come up with Craig Slater as breaking news, and it all went yellow, and there was like, George Russell's being investigated. We know what's happening here. There ain't no coming back. Yeah. So, anything else from the race?
Not really.
So Russell won, then got disqualified.
Right.
So Hamilton won. Piastri was second, Leclerc third, Max fourth, Sainz fifth, Perez sixth, Alonso seventh, Ocon eighth, Ricciardo ninth, Stroll 10th. Good recovery drive from Stroll, really, considering he absolutely smashed his car on Friday. He was knocked out in... Was he knocked out? Where was he knocked out in? Must have been knocked out in Q2, wasn't he?
Yeah, Q2.
Yeah. So he did well to kind of get a point. Yes, all right, Russell got kicked out, but done well. So that leaves the drivers' standings as Max at 277, Norris at 199, Leclerc 177. So there's 100 points between Max in first and Leclerc in third. Coming up to the summer break. That's closer than it's been for quite a while, even though it's still 100 points.
Yeah, it's still Max's to lose, isn't it, really? I think he's that far ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if he didn't have any more issues this season, he's probably fine. The thing is, once Max gets a bit of pressure, he does silly things.
If he's asked to race hard and close, he does silly things.
You know, there's lots of walls. I mean, we've got a lot of street circuits coming up.
Yeah.
You know, we've got Azerbaijan, Singapore. Max gets close to the walls anyway, but Max ain't as cool as he has been for the last 2 years now. Everything that's going on at Red Bull and stuff like that, he's definitely not happy with the car in any way, shape, or form. He's made that abundantly clear at the last couple of races. I think they go from saying that Leclerc's got a crash in him to Max has got a crash in him. He gets a couple of them. As long as Norris is just getting the points in, it could flip. And I hate to say it right now, but if Max gets a couple of races where he doesn't get points in, I'm McLaren then going to be sitting there thinking, we ballsed up when we swapped round Lando and Oscar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Norris called it, and I know I slated him, absolutely slated him. But if Max and Red Bull keep on this trajectory of not being the fastest car, I mean, they've got to bring upgrades at some point, so you'd expect them to go back ahead. But if they don't, and if this is the penalties rearing its head, if it's the fact that half the staff are going, Adrian Newey, such forth, McLaren could kick themselves, because if it's anywhere, if he gets within 5 points, they're going to say, well, why didn't we do that? But then it's interesting this week, McLaren have said we're concentrating on the constructors, not the drivers.
I mean, let's face it, it's looking like if they carry on the way they're going, McLaren will get the constructors, because, well, Red Bull's only got one driver, effectively.
Yeah. They've got one car, scoring points.
Known for not ever being bothered about the constructors. McLaren should have that nailed on.
Yeah, they should do really.
If I was Lando, and like you said at the end of the season, I missed out on a championship by less than 7 points, because I think that was it was 7 points difference between him and Oscar because of that race. So if he loses the championship by less than 7 points, I'd be pissed.
You'd be seething like, yeah. I think this could come to bite him. Let's be honest. So the next race is Zandvoort, so that's 25th of August. Max's home race. He always does well there, always. But is this the first time since we've been back at Zandvoort that there's a bit of doubt creeping in? I don't think he's got it as plain as he used to have. And
well, we haven't been putting him at top for our predictions for a couple of weeks now.
No, and like you say, when he's under pressure and he's not winning and he's not getting clear of the field, there'll be a crash in him. I mean, we haven't had a mechanical failure yet, really.
No.
I mean, although the gap looks massive at 78 points, it's not, is it? It could. Let's be honest. It could be, because if Max wins the next 3, then that's it. We're done talking about the championship. But if Norris and McLaren and everyone's taking points off him, they'll all slowly come back up to him.
Well, look how much the scene's changed from the start of the season. Like, Mercedes were nowhere. Ferrari were pushing Red Bull. McLaren were kind of like here, there, anywhere. Like, so it can change in a few races. It can change. I think McLaren are gunning for the constructors. I think they will do it.
McLaren have had deals on all season.
I haven't actually.
As soon as it gets close, as soon as there's that 5-10 point gap between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, everybody's going to be thinking about that race.
Well, yeah. I mean, has anyone got the constructors' standings in front of them?
No.
Let's have a look.
But then you say, like, Ferrari could come back into it, start taking points.
Well,
but then Max isn't winning every race anymore, is he? So
no, and like James said, Max isn't winning and Perez isn't scoring. Really, he's getting maybe a point, maybe 2. So Red Bull are on 408, McLaren are on 366, and they've got 2 drivers that are consistently scoring points. So that'll get eaten in. If you've got 2 drivers getting points against a team that's only getting 1 driver getting points, that lead is going to go. Yep. Ferrari are on 345, Mercedes are on 266. And then Aston Martin are on 73. So I don't think Aston Martin are going to win the constructors.
Oh.
Merc are probably too far off.
Yeah, I think the damage is already done with Merc.
So I think you are talking, if Ferrari can get their act together, a 3-horse race. So Red Bull are under a bit of pressure. So speaking of pressure, James, do you want to run through our predictions?
Sorry, burpees. So, Mark, you had 30 points. You went Norris, Max, Piastri. You still have 30 points because you got jack fucking shit.
What about Piastri third? Oh, he went to second, didn't he? God damn you, George Russell. God damn you, George Russell.
Yeah.
Something else to hate him for.
I went Norris, Piastri, Hamilton. So Mark, you'll have me as having Piastri third, but you're wrong because we got disqualified. So I get 2 points for that, going from 28 to 30. So it's joint top. Tony, you went Norris, Max, Leclerc. You get 1 point for Leclerc, getting you from 25 to 26. And our devout leader, Andy, went Max, Hamilton, Leclerc. So he gets 1 point for Leclerc. I don't know why I gave him a point, really. It's not like he can really compete, but...
Hey, a point's a point. Andy will be pleased with that, I'm sure.
Andy,
Point's
you
a
get
point.
a participation award like you would at Sports Day.
He's only 6 behind Charlie, and he's only made predictions for one race.
8 behind Charlie.
8 behind Charlie now. Yeah.
Yeah, because Piastri moved up to second.
Yes.
God, you're shit at this. This is why I do this bit.
Exactly. I'm terrible at this.
Charlie had 7 points. She went Norris, Piastri, Hamilton. So she gets 2 points going from 7 to 9. And the FIA, get well soon, when Lewis, Lando, Max, getting 3 points going from 23 to 26. Oh, mate, she's tied.
Oh, God.
Wow. Oh. She's so this is the first time in 3 seasons she's been level on points with one of us.
I was going to say that's the first.
Yeah. Well, we said this the other week, didn't we? And Tony was like, no, she's been in front. But we've checked the book. I mean, I know I'm not very good at this, but James normally does put me right. This is the first time one of us has been joined with the FIA.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Don't worry.
Is that because you could outrun her at the moment?
Pardon?
Is that because you could outrun her at the moment?
Yes. She's got bigger fish to fry right now. So, or she got plenty of time. I don't know.
That's true. She could sit there researching now. So, we've got 6 minutes left. We can either go into the news or have a Tony's random question for 6 minutes.
Tony's question time.
Tony's question time. Tony, you have got 6 minutes, 11 seconds. Go for it.
All right, well, welcome to question time. I don't actually have a question prepped this time, but I did have a really good one to ask Annie about. I'll have to remember it. Has anybody tried chia seeds? No.
Oh, mate, no, not the hell. Look, we get Andy on, you ask him how he wipes his ass, and then when we're all on, you just want to know, like, health tips.
Try chia seeds in your food, drink. It's a game changer. You'll feel better. Trust me. Buy chia seeds.
Sponsor
now.
Buy chia seeds.
I was going to say, yeah, this week's episode, what do you buy?
Tony 10.
What
else?
Well, Alf, while you're thinking of a question, I'll throw out there, I was sponsored by chia seeds. I was in London at the weekend and I tried a cranberry and raspberry tea from Whittards of Chelsea. You can have it hot or cold, and it was good.
Oh my God, you're a girl.
I've got a question.
Go on.
If you was rioting in a whole city centre...
No. Right, go on. Go on, but I might cut you off.
It's not bad.
Oh, good. Right.
Because none of us would riot. We're not stupid. We're not fucking criminals. But would you rob from Shoe Zone or rob from Lush? Where would you rob from? You can only rob from one of them places. Where would you rob?
Well,
it's a big question, really. You got to think about it. You got 2 hands. You can go in there, grab 2 handfuls, but then you're done. You've got to run back home.
Neither, because I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not condoning these knobheads.
Yeah, I'd have gone around the corner to Richard Sounds while they're all getting, distracting the police, getting bath bombs. I'm getting the 58-inch bloody backlit TV.
Well, I'm going to be honest. On the same street, there's a couple of building societies what have lots of money.
Yeah, didn't get any of that.
No. So
they're all idiots anyway.
We do not condone. This is not Hull. We are all from Hull. We do not condone this in Hull. I don't want to even give them airtime.
Man's behaviour. Peace.
Right, okay.
Peace.
3 minutes. I'm going to chuck a question out there, and it's going to be loosely related to F1. If you had £300,000, no, 100,000, no, forget it. If you had unlimited money to buy one car, what would it be?
What, as in an F1 car?
No, any car in the world. So you could buy an F1 car if you wanted.
It's easy. I'd get an AMG GT1, and I'd get it in silver, proper, all of it in silver, proper Mercedes silver, because it's road legal. You can take it on the track, and it's quick as shit, and it feels and sounds like an F1 car.
I mean, we know it's quick as well because there's not a single Formula One car that's ever overtaken it.
That is very true.
I do like the AMG silver safety car. I've always liked that, and I love the sound of it. I also like Lando Norris's chrome Shelby that he has.
Yeah.
But I think that is mainly because if I could buy any car, it would be a 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500.
Called Eleanor. I mean, that is up there for me. Obviously, being the big Ferrari fan I am, I would buy a red Ferrari. I mean, I've always been a Ferrari fan. No, I would buy an Aston Martin DBS from the second Daniel Craig James Bond film, because that car is absolutely stunning. Where they're racing through the tunnel against the Alpha, it's just such a nice car.
Yeah.
I mean, James's family have got Aston Martins, the tenner penny to him. They've also got G-Wagons, so the tenny penny to him.
You know what I mean? All of them. Was it the DB5? Was it DB5 or DB6 in Goldfinger?
DB.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In my older age, guys, I am coming around to your thinking that sometimes a classic car, with this new age of electricity and whatnot, and hydrogen and fucking all the other biofuel shit.
Fuck you, Greta.
Yeah.
We want muscle cars.
On that note of Greta, we will take a break here and be back with the news. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yeah, you that's listening right now. Thanks very much for tuning into this episode of Straight to the Apex, the Formula One podcast from CookieCast. If you're enjoying this episode, why not like, share and subscribe? Whilst you're there, feel free to check out some of the other podcasts that CookieCast has to offer. If you like football, we've got a football podcast. NFL more your thing? Then the Laces Out podcast is for you. Maybe even a little bit of the wrestling. Just look for the Getting Over podcast on CookieCast. Maybe you want to listen to Andy's Darkest Timeline. It's there too. So, the F1 boys have probably got themselves a drink. It's time to get back to the action.
And we're back. For us, it was 10 minutes. For you guys, literally, it's the length of a CookieCast ad break.
Which is exactly what I said to the wife.
Hey. I mean, off subject, we've not mentioned it. Hull KR, top of the league. Thank you very much.
Are we still top of the league?
I mean, well, let's have a look. Sorry, guys and girls listening. I know you're not listening for this, but more important things.
Yeah, talk among yourselves. We're just going to check. You know, we're lead supporters at the moment.
No, we're not. we're gonna win in league 28-6.
No.
So we're
You know
second.
what? Derek Beaumont, you're a prick.
Fucking useless. Absolutely useless. Anyhow, right, so we've covered the race, we've covered quali. We are done for the summer. I think we've got 2 weeks left, maybe. News. So, couple of quickies. McLaren team principal Andrea Stella signed a new multi-year deal with McLaren. Haas have announced Ocon to be a driver. Did you see that one
Shit.
coming?
No, shit. Absolutely shit. Good luck, Ollie Behrman. Good luck, mate.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Bit odd from Haas.
Fucking
Got rid of
fucking
Hulkenberg
nuts.
and Magnussen for Ollie Behrman, who's got the potential to do well, and Esteban Ocon, who is not the best teammate.
A fucking liability.
I mean, as Tony would upset him, the French bastard, you would probably call him.
I don't like him. Don't know if you've noticed.
No, I mean, he's not the best teammate, is he? Especially for a rookie, a Ferrari Academy driver. Really, do you want Ocon as a teammate? What the hell are they thinking?
It's hardly the right kind of influence you want, is it?
He'll badge off the track. He'll hit you wherever in quali. He'll be aggressive. I don't think he's got that. We've talked about team leaders on this podcast. Don't think he's a team leader to get that Haas quicker.
No, absolutely not.
Strange. Really, really strange. More strange news. Carlos Sainz has signed for Williams on a multi-year deal. Now, to put this in perspective, Williams are one of the worst teams in F1 at the moment. Don't get me wrong. They're a prestigious team, as someone on this podcast would say. But
They are. But
they've been nowhere. Carlos Sainz is a mid-level driver, would we all agree? He's not top tier. I think we've had this conversation before. He's not top tier. He's kind of maybe just breaking in that top.
Mercedes, probably just below that par, isn't he?
Yeah. But to put it in a bit of perspective, Mercedes still haven't announced a second driver to go with Russell for next year. So Sainz to Williams. What's your guys' thoughts of that?
All I can think is, and this is no disrespect or anything to, and that is the shittest line he can ever say with no disrespect. It's the same as saying, "Oh, with all due respect." Either way, you say that, you're just going to slag off whoever you're saying it to.
Yes.
I can't help but think, has he just done it because he's scared that he isn't going to get a seat elsewhere?
What do you think he's jumped quickly because no one's contacted him?
Yeah, because obviously Mercedes have turned around and have gone, we're not really interested. Clearly, Audi's not reached out to him or anything else like that, so it's not like he's going to take like a year out and then go there. I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes either. Christ, I mean, are Williams going to turn around and be like, well, here's next year's car, and it goes like shit off a stick? I mean, I doubt it, but I don't know.
What's your thoughts, Tone?
I think he knows something that we don't, and I think he's took his time to make this decision. And I do think, yeah, they're at the bottom of the pile, but in F1, when you're at the bottom of the pile, there's a lot of rich people, a lot of companies out there, a lot of business out there that can invest in F1 cheaply. And let's be honest, F1 is only going up and up and up. So have they sold him a story? Have they made it out to be like this is going to be a project, and we want you to be the main man leading forward? We've got investment coming in. These are the plans. We want you to be the man.
I mean,
so sign him up.
James Vowles, we've said this, ex-Mercedes guy, very, very clever. Like,
very clever.
But when he talks, you listen, because I feel stupid when he talks. Like, he is an absolute brainiac.
So,
Albon, yeah, I mean, Albon, not good, solid driver, not really a leader. When, like I say, we talk about this a lot. You need a leader of that team. You need someone to grab them designers and say to them, right, this is what the car needs. I'm lacking this. It's got this. It's too much of this, too little of that. Albon's not that guy. Is Carlos Sainz?
I think he can be, and I think that's maybe in his decision going there. You are the man.
Look at the car he's been driving. He knows what the top tier cars can do, and what makes them do it.
I mean, let's be honest. He's been at Ferrari, and he's always been second fiddle at Ferrari, not in drivers and in decision making. So that makes Williams look even more promising, doesn't it? His responsibility that you haven't had before, his leadership that you haven't had before, his guarantees that you haven't had before.
I mean,
but it's a team that is, well, we've all said it, no offence, at the bottom of the pile.
I mean, his pedigree, he's won races at Ferrari in a not a dominant car. And like you've just said, as a second driver, let's put that out there. He's not number one at Ferrari. He's won at McLaren when he was with Lando. Again, not his team. Second fiddle to the golden boy that is Lando. He's won at, well, he hasn't won at Renault, but he did a good job at Renault. And he did a good job at Toro Rosso RB against Max, a young 17-year-old Max. Them two fought like hard, and Carlos was there or thereabouts. Max, okay, was kind of probably the better driver, which is why he got the Red Bull seat, but he was always going to get the Red Bull seat. So his pedigree does stand when you look at it and you think, yeah, I get it. But do you think he's that guy to take a team near the bottom up the grid? Like you say, he's got the pedigree from the other ones, hasn't he? So is he that guy to say, is it, has he got that about him, want a lead driver to say, right, this is what I want, go get me it, and then he will then be in contention?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, Williams will know what makes the cars go. They will, because every bloody car out there does. But they've definitely got something missing. There's going to be like one little thing, and it might be something in the feel. And that's where Sainz might actually come into it, because like I said, he's driven a Ferrari for long enough. He's driven, granted, it was an RB, it wasn't the Red Bull, but he's effectively driven a Red Bull car as well. So he knows how they should feel as well. And he might just get in it, drive it around a few times, and be like, right, look, guys, if we can get this in, or just make this little tweak, you might shave off a 10th.
Yeah.
And a 10th of a second in F1 goes a hell of a long way.
But he's got to be patient. He's not going to be on a podium overnight, is he? Fucking hell.
No. Not at all.
It's going to, at best, next year, in that car, where's he going to finish race by race?
He might sneak a points position.
Exactly. They're going to move from bottom to like middle. at best. They're going to get 9, 8, aren't they? They're not going to. Can he? Could you see Carlos Sainz doing that? Really, he's a top 5, 6 driver, isn't he, at the minute? So, be interesting to see how long he sticks that out for.
I mean, go on, James. You go first.
I guess at the same time, granted, we keep saying, it's a long shot for him to be able to do it, but let's not forget that at one point, Braun got bought for £1.
Yeah. I mean, stranger things have happened.
Car and went on to win the championship.
Yeah. I mean, stranger things have happened. Let's be honest. It's an upgrade from Logan Sargent. That is an absolute given. I think it's a good move for Williams because I think Williams have gone out there and got one of, like say, top 6 drivers on the market. Build a team around, like James said, if they do a Braun when the new rules come in and get a jump on everyone, he's going to be absolutely laughing his head off. So, yeah, I think it's a great move for Williams. I'm a bit shocked for Sainz in the sense that the Audi project had his name written all over it because his dad, with a rallying pedigree, and Audi go hand in hand. I think everyone thought that was the move. The way Mercedes have dicked about, was he hoping for a year there maybe? But I've got the driver lineup for 2025 up now. So Red Bull are confirmed, Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez. That's a question mark, which we'll talk about in a minute. The second driver there. Yeah. Ferrari, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton. That's signed, sealed, delivered. McLaren, Norris, Piastri. Don't really need to change that, do they?
No, they'd be stupid if they did.
Mercedes, George Russell, and there's a space there. So there's one space on the grid for next year. We don't know. It could be that Kimi Antonelli. I mean, could be Mick Schumacher. He's the reserve driver there. Who knows? So we've got one space on the grid. Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso, Lance Stroll. I think we all know who should go, but he ain't. And Fernando's,
no comment.
Yeah, Fernando's sticking around a bit longer. RB, Tsunoda has been announced, and they've got a space. So it's either Ricciardo or looking like Liam Lawson.
Yeah, Liam in.
So there's 2 spaces. There's 2 spaces. Haas, Oliver Behrman, Esteban Ocon. We've already said about that. Ridiculous. Alpine, Pierre Gasly, and there's a potential space. Rumours are Jack Doohan, Victor Martins, junior drivers, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, all in the frame. So there's a space at Alpine. So that's 3 spaces. 1 top team, 2 middle to bottom. Williams, Albon and Sainz. Audi, Hülkenberg, and the space. So there's 4. And I mean,
unless Sainz has been told, give it a few years, because that project's not going the greatest, to put it politely.
well, the Sauber next year still, and then the year after they become Audi. So Sainz thought, do you know what? I don't want to be in Sauber for a year. I'll see how they do the first year of Audi, then I might jump. But they've got Carlos, I mean, Sauber are currently interested in Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon. Well, them 2 are gone.
Yeah.
Could Hülkenberg take Magnussen with him? Because they didn't get on, and now they're kind of buds, and they've done wonders for Haas.
Yeah, it's a safe bet, isn't it? It's always a safe. Them two are just such a safe bet. Probably. It's a good shout. But
so you've got
I don't
four gaps on the grid.
I want to see young talent. I want to see Antonelli. I want to see Doohan. I want to see Liam Lawson. And another young lad somewhere in the mix as well.
So
why not?
So you think Ricardo's gone?
Yes, yeah. Come on, get rid of him.
Okay.
Put the fucking.
Moving on.
I'd probably agree with that.
So we touched on it. Sergio Perez, Red Bull. Apparently, after the race, there was a major meeting in Austria. Not Helmut. Helmut Marko wanted him gone. Kind of was adamant he's going. Something was said, and then Christian Horner come out and said Perez will be in the car for the foreseeable future.
I think commercially, surely it has to be a commercial decision. Commercially, one, he sells so much, does so much. Two, his contract, there must be some stuff in his contract, like if they let him go early, they've got to pay him a shit ton of money. And then to go and find another driver, they'll be paying a shit ton of money to get a good caliber, similar caliber driver in that seat, because they'll ask for a lot of money because they're in a top team, a top car. It has to be commercial. It has to be commercial. That's the only way, because his performances are shit. And I hope after this meeting, now they've kept him, I hope to God, and I think every F1 fan is in agreement here, that I hope to God they fucking lose the constructors. Because I think that is the single biggest nail in that coffin of we're going to lose constructors, and it's also a big like come and get us to all the other teams. Come get us. We're here for the taking now. What are your thoughts?
I don't know about the commercial. I don't know. Does he bring much in commercially?
The whole of Mexico wear Red Bull gear. All you've got to do is look at that race. It's like Dutch fans for Max. It's like the whole of Mexico have Red Bull stuff on. Apparently, it's such a big country and such a big market. He basically pays for, let's be honest, the catering. He
could say that about
so much money in.
Really.
You're sorry?
Say that about most drivers, couldn't we? You could pretty much just say, you go to the British Grand Prix and everyone's wearing a Lewis Hamilton shirt.
No, but then
I completely disagree there, because they've all got Lando Norris tops on, all got George Russell tops on.
Yeah.
Then they've got all the rest of their favourite drivers on.
British fans.
There is only one guy in Mexico.
British fans are different. British fans will support Lewis. Some will hate him. They'll have Ferrari tops. Some will have Max tops. Norris. George. Mexicans support Mexicans. It's like saying,
it's just how it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you went to Holland, if you was Dutch and you bought anything other than an orange Red Bull top, you'd probably be shot on sight. And I think that's what it is for the Mexicans. They've probably got sombreros with Red Bull logos on. They've literally sells so much merch because he's the only Mexican driver for how many years? It's like the Chinese. It's like Zhou Guanyu and Tsunoda being Japanese. You go to Japan, it's Tsunoda everywhere. They've got the big hats with F1 cars on the top. Tsunoda. Mexico, China, Japan, Holland, they all back the driver like as a country, and I think that makes them so much money. But equally, if you lose the constructors, you lose money. So does that offset what you get with the merch? we've said it all year. If it was performance related, and that's what it all should be on, which in an ideal world it never is.
Oh, we've seen other drivers go out quicker from Red Bull.
He'd be out. Yeah, he'd be out.
You Gasly, Albon, Ricciardo, fucking Sainz.
Kvyat.
There you go. Just add
been given that quick, and a lot of them was because they couldn't perform as good as Max.
Yeah. Plus, he's got plenty of money. I think his dad's a millionaire, isn't he? His dad's a millionaire. They're pretty big people in Mexico. So it's not like they can just go, "You're fired." Because
that's the other thing.
They could turn around and go, "Well, excuse me, you've unfairly treated my son in X, Y, and Z lawsuit. There we go. Or no, we're not doing that." And it could all kick off. And Red Bull have got so much heat on them already. They don't want any more heat. Fucking hell.
One of their sponsors on the car is Perez's. He's backed by the Mexican oil tycoon. That's who's paid for his full career. And one of the sponsors on the car, is it that Clario or whatever? And he probably brings so much money to Red Bull. So,
and at a time where Red Bull is very much dwindling, it's not as powerful as it once was. We've lost the owner last year. They're not the top dogs anymore. The car is not astronomically better than the rest. Like, commercially, they must be looking and thinking, what are our assets? What's the money coming in? Okay. We don't want to risk here, do we?
If it's not commercially, like you just said as well, that much shit has gone on. Are they also sitting there thinking, look, if we get rid of him, that's just more shit on us?
Exactly. More problems. Let's just fucking batten down the hatches.
He's got a contract. Just leave him. Let's not sack him. Or, I mean, you've absolutely led a beautiful path to my next point of call. Jonathan Wheatley, Mr. Sporting Director himself, the twat on the radio that tried to get Max and Red Bull out of certain situations by reading the rule book probably every night before he goes to bed.
While touching himself.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Is to become Audi's new team principal. Now, it was really weirdly announced. So he will have a period of gardening leave. But he'll be joining Audi by July 2025 at the very latest. It was announced by Red Bull first, and then confirmed 3 hours later by Audi, who then said we wasn't going to announce it, but Red Bull forced us. So it was all a bit cloak and dagger, and Red Bull basically jumped out there and put it out there that Jonathan Wheatley, like basically Christian Horner's number 2, is leaving the team. What do you think? Because let's be honest, Zach Brown called this. He said, I've been receiving CVs. And Christian Horner said, nah, you haven't. Not from our staff, you haven't. That's Jonathan Wheatley. That's Adrian Newey. A couple of the chief designers now, whose names have eluded me. Jonathan Wheatley's a pretty big fish, isn't it?
Yep. It's not little fries and stuff like that, or some employees that are making allegations against other employees or anything else like that. It's big key players. Your Adrian Newey, your yeah.
Can it fall apart? How badly can this fall apart?
Well, I think it could, if the chief strategist goes, so Hannah Schmidt, if she then went, say she had the notice in next, you've pretty much lost. Say Max goes to Mercedes, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Let's, for example, Max hasn't said anything. He's been pissed off in the car. Mercedes hasn't announced a driver. Say Max goes to Mercedes. Say Bono goes with Lewis to Ferrari. So Max then takes his race engineer, Jean-Pierre Lambiase. You've probably lost your full pit wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a big if. Like, they might not go. But you've lost Adrian Newey. You've lost Jonathan Wheatley, who was your rules guy. Like, he's like Ron Meadows at Mercedes. If there's a penalty against the team, he goes and fights your corner. You've lost that guy. Jonathan Wheatley has never, ever, ever said he wanted to be a team principal before. And then all of a sudden, he's gone. Josh Verstappen is kicking off in the background still. We know he's making it toxic. Yeah, how far can they fall off the planet before Christian Horner says, "I'll go"?
Disney buy it.
Could go that way. Well, they're going to stick around, aren't they? They've got Ford helping them make their engines, but they must be literally selling their soul to the Verstappens, literally.
But as Ford, wouldn't you? They could back out. Seeing all the shit that's going on, we do not want to be associated with you. We'll go to, I don't know, Williams. Would that be the biggest thing? Would that be so? Which should be bigger, Max leaving or Ford pulling out?
Max leaving. I think Max leaving is the actual. When you've got a cake, yeah, you've got a cake, and you've got the sponge of the cake. It's like you completely change the sponge of the cake. Like when you say Red Bull, you think Max Verstappen. When you say Max Verstappen, you think Red Bull. So he left.
I would agree.
Red Bull Racing. What else does Red Bull do? Really?
Give you wings.
Drinks. That's it, isn't it? It's just like a
BMX,
Mercedes,
aeroplanes.
BMX. It's like
Dakar Rally.
Yeah. But Mercedes, Audi, like huge automobile car manufacturers, like it's falling apart. And to go back to the original question, Mark, it's going
absolutely right. Even with the whole Max Verstappen is Red Bull and Red Bull is Max Verstappen. Yeah, you're right with that. If Ford was to pull out, I don't think they'd be too fussed as long as they've still got Max. I think if it was the other way, so Max turned around and went, you know what, I'm off. I think that would be worse, because I think if Max was to go, because of what we just said, Max is Red Bull. If Max was to go, then Ford would pull out anyway.
Yeah. And then would Horner quit, or would he still be there?
Oh, Horner's going to be there till the end, I think.
He's not going to give in, is he?
He's not going to give in.
Horner's Palpatine with the whole "I am the Senate" thing.
Oh yeah, like they'll die and then come back. He'll still be there.
Oh,
he'll still be there.
Can you imagine that? Ted's notebook, and he just comes on, and it's like, what's his name in episode 9 or whichever one it is? He goes, somehow he came back. He must have had a clone.
You've lost me.
I mean, you got to think. Could Red Bull sell the team? Could they sell the team?
I mean, Mateschitz was the guy that loved Formula One. Not sure the new leaders of Red Bull do, especially with everything that's been dragged through the mud with Horner and all the allegations. Yeah, they could pull out. They could, but then you'd lose 2 teams, because obviously Alpine as well. But then I think Horner's a part owner, so maybe he'd be clawing and hanging on to his little tiny piece of the pot. No, don't leave me. Yeah. Any other news, guys?
Not at the moment that I have, no.
No.
No, not that I can think of. It's the summer break. Everybody's.
So it goes quiet, and then about a week before it all kicks off again, doesn't it?
So going back to the Mercedes open seat, then, do you think Max is a viable option? Do you think it's just whispers, it's just talk, it's just never going to happen, or can you see it actually happening? Because Mercedes not saying anything about their driver for next year is odd in itself.
I'm going to say that they're not rushing around. Are they still kind of hanging fire, knowing what's in the background?
Now they've got a better car, because we said weeks and weeks ago when we was talking about this, why would Max go to Mercedes? Now that's utterly done a 360-degree turn, and it's like, holy shit, Mercedes are the real deal. Would Max jump ship?
And let's face it, Mercedes offered him a shit ton of money. I mean, they offered him more than they offered Hamilton, I think, if I remember rightly. But if I was Mercedes now, and Max was to approach me saying, look, can I drive for you? I'd be like, absolutely. But the price has dropped.
Yeah. Yeah. You pay us.
Yeah. We offered you this then, but you said no, so you want to come to us now, so now the offer's this.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think that. I think there's the offer. It's a lot of money. It's a massive contract. And I think as the season goes on, that is only going to look more and more attractive to Max Verstappen. Surely.
I've got a funny feeling he's already signed for him for next year.
As he fuck off.
I have.
Mark, bullshit.
That
is the biggest blown up bullshit, thumbnail bullshit I've ever seen. No.
Just note this down in your book.
No.
6th of August,
No,
2024.
You're not having that. You're not having no way. If that happens, I will fucking the next fucking meal we have, I will fucking buy you that meal. No fucking way.
I'm calling it 6th of August, 2024, 10:00.
No, because they wouldn't be able to keep that quiet. There's no way that would be kept quiet.
Maybe Max hasn't told Red Bull. We've said he's kicking off. We've said Josh Verstappen is a sneaky little bastard.
Helmut would have dropped it by now. They would have fucking had a bit of something in the plane. And
not if he didn't
know. In the plane, Helmut would have gone, Max, drive quicker for Mercedes or something.
Not if he didn't know. I'm telling you, the Verstappens have signed something with Toto, and they ain't told Red Bull. And at the end of the year, he's just gonna go. By the way, I'm not coming back. I'm telling you now. That is my gut feeling, and I'm calling it right now.
You know,
it's going to be
it would
like
be
Star Wars type shit. You know, like when fucking fuck's sake.
Don't disappoint me here, Tony.
I know. Don't. Just come back to me. I've got the scene.
What did you say, James?
I was saying, if there was anyone out there that would do something like that, it would be him.
It's got the Verstappens written all over it because Josh hates Horner, and Josh is very like Toto, wears his heart on his sleeve. Bit of a dick where Toto isn't really, but I can imagine Toto being a bit of a dick, just not in front of the cameras. He's just got that aura about him. They're very similar. They're on the same page. Mercedes has turned their season around. They've now got a front-running car. It's just something that the Verstappens would do. And wait until not say anything to anyone, and at the end of the year, just say, oh, by the way, Christian, we ain't coming back next year. There's a clause in the contract. Bye-bye. I'm calling
It's the final. It's the final scene. Do you know what I mean? When he's like looking Tatooine and the moons. and it's like the dawn of a new chapter. New
on that massive.
As one legend steps into another chapter, another legend steps into his place, and they will battle it out to find out who is.
And some old lady walks up to him and goes, "Who are you?" He goes, "Oh, I'm Max." He goes, "Max who?" "Max Skywalker." Nah.
Hamilton.
On that note, I mean, he's never going to call himself Hamilton. On that note, I think we've reached the end.
Wow. I mean, you just need to listen to this. Now you can't wait for the second half.
I know. So
how we're going to sleep now?
Don't know. I mean, we will be back before 28th of August, so probably either next week or the week after we'll discuss it. But yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Like, share, subscribe. Please get our numbers up. We need numbers up, so Tony will have more questions to mesmerise everybody.
Chia Seeds, try it. Trust me. And Star Wars outro music, please. Thank you.
See you next time, guys.
See you soon, guys.
So there you go. What do you think of that? Another fantastic episode. I am sure you will agree. Thank you for joining these gents with all the Formula One goodies. Before you go, if you haven't done all of these things already, please do consider click that like button, subscribe to the podcast so you know when new episodes come in, share the podcast around, that's a biggie, leave a review. There are places that you can review podcasts, depending where you get your podcast. If you get it from a particular place that does allow reviews, please do consider leaving one and say, love it, it's the best. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we've got social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with these guys. Say, hey, love it. Right, that is enough from me. That is the end of this podcast. Until the next one, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode of CookieCast, please like, share, and subscribe.